I have a problem.
What's your problem?
My book is empty.
You guys are ready, and you can start.
Is Bill here?
There he is.
Goes in his laundry room.
Socially distanced.
Brian, you tell me when you're ready?
I'm ready.
You ready? Dave,
Yeah.
all set? Bill, all set?
I'm all set. I
set.
can't see Brian.
Yeah, Brian,
This
you're not on.
conference will now be recorded.
That's because the
Yeah.
camera's facing the police sergeants.
Okay.
And wait a minute, we'll pan over. There's the chief.
Everybody wave.
Sergeants. Okay. Unfortunately, the camera's pointing away from me, but wait a minite.
That's not a bad thing.
We know what you look like. It's fine.
It's certainly more attractive than looking at me.
But you do have the
I'll
flag.
second that.
I do have the flag if I can.
You have
get
the flag. So,
stay on the
Oh,
computer.
Brian's back with us.
There we go. There's the flag.
excellent. Thank you. Keep it like that till we do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, well, if everybody's ready, I will call this meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order Monday, May 4th at 4:30 p.m. May the 4th be with you, everybody. Will you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everybody. Mr. Clerk, would you, Rebecca, do I need to read that statement again?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So before we get into our agenda, I will just read this statement. Due to the increasing concerns surrounding the COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, this meeting will remain closed to the public. There are no scheduled public hearings and there will be no public comment period. Live video and audio of the meeting will be aired on Comcast local channel 69 or 98. A live feed and recording of the meeting will also be posted on the EBCAM website, www.eb-cam.org. So, Mr. Clerk, would you take us through the agenda, please?
We're going to have one appointment tonight with Chris Buckley, Veterans Agent. We have several action items. We have our town administrator report, announcements, staff reports, board discussions, and let's see, that is it.
That's it.
And
Great.
that is it.
All right, thank you. With the permission of my fellow board members, I would take the agenda a little bit out of order and go to action item number 2, the contract signing with the Superior Officers Union.
Sure.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. With us this evening is Chief O'Brien, Sergeants Garillo, Jenkins, and McLaughlin. We're sitting socially distant at the conference table in my office, who are here to ratify the memorandum of agreement with the superior officers and the town.
Excellent. Good work, everybody. I've heard nothing but good things about how all this went with all of you, and we appreciate that as a board. And we're glad to get this signed and done. Dave, Bill, anything to add?
I'd just like to echo that. It did sound like it was very smooth negotiation on both sides. And again, my always concern when we have contracts is that they're not done on time, which we'll see later on when we talk about the fire. But it appears to be a great contract
How you doing, Tim?
for both the superior officers in the town. Congratulations to all.
And saying the same thing, just thank you to the Superior Officers Union Brian Noble, the acting police chief, and all the members of the union. This seemed to go very smooth. Usually, I think there's quite a bit back and forth. I think everyone was pretty much on the same page with this one going forward right from the start. And I think it just shows the leadership over there in the police department. And thank you to everybody.
Great. Thank you.
And I would need a vote to ratify the memorandum of agreement, please, and authorize me to sign it for you.
Bill, do you want to make that motion?
Make a motion to approve the contract between the town of East Bridgewater and the Superiors Officers Union, also giving approval to Town Administrator Brian Noble to sign the contract on our behalf.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That's unanimous. There we go. Congratulations,
Thank you,
everybody.
folks.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
All righty. Guys, thank you very much.
Thanks for coming in. Stay safe out there. Stay safe, stay safe.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so I have on my agenda, we have an appointment with Town Clerk Sue Gilpatrick. Is that not happening now?
Correct.
Okay, so shall we go to an appointment with Chris Buckley instead?
Sure, we can do, yeah, whatever you'd like.
All right.
Can we, if we go to Chris Buckley, can we go back and talk about the absentee ballots before we adjourn tonight?
Do we have information on that without Susan Gilpatrick here?
So Sue's not coming.
Right,
So
yeah, Dave.
Yeah, I think I can give a brief summary of where we are with it.
Okay, why don't we do that after we do Chris, before we go to action
That's
items?
fine.
Great.
That's fine. Thank you.
All right, Chris, are you here? You have the floor.
Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. My main purpose tonight is to go over two things that we have going on with Veteran Services. I've spoken with the Patriotic Committee, and they have voted to cancel the traditional Memorial Day services that we have here in town. And our alternate service is going to be a 15 to 20 minute service where we read the names, play taps, and do our normal ceremony, but socially distancing at the Common. I've spoken with Russ at EBCAM, and him and his folks will be there to record that the week of Memorial, or the week prior to Memorial Day, and then they will play that on Memorial Day, just like they would play our normal ceremony. To piggyback off of that, all veterans' graves in town there will be a flag put there, whether that's by the Patriotic Committee, the Legion, myself, and social distance guidelines will be in effect the entire time. So that wraps up the Memorial Day stuff. And then the next item I have is I've set up a Food for Vets drive the 20th of May on Wednesday. And that's going to be from 10 o'clock to 12 o'clock. The purpose of this is to give out as many food boxes for local veterans as possible. I've taken some notes from the other towns that have done this. They've run out of food because what this company does is they show up, this charitable organization shows up with 100 boxes. And usually in the first 30 to 45 minutes, because of the way they do their publicity, they run out of boxes. So the way it's going to work is we'll funnel everybody through my office. I'll sign them up. Our veterans here in East Bridgewater will get first pick because it's our event. And I will be doing that starting next week. And I will schedule that. And however many veterans I get off of that, our people will be taken care of. And then we'll put it out to the other local towns that we have a food drive going on. And then also along with that event, I'd like to concurrently run a food drive so local residents can drop off non-perishables. And this would all be taking place at the high school on the 20th.
Okay. Board comments?
Chris, when will the food drive take place at the high school? When hours? And what days?
It will be on the 20th of May from 10 to noon in the high school parking lot.
Okay.
All right.
Mm.
That's great, Chris, that you're doing that to support the veterans specifically. I know there've been some other food drive efforts going on in town, and it's nice to see everybody coming together and trying to help out people in that way.
Well, and the other thing I did want to add is the collecting for the local food pantries. As I put out late last week when I got the word that we would be able to put this event on, one, everybody thought it was to drop food off. And then the second thing that came out of their mouth was, well, is there something else we can do? And so I figured, we've got the day, so we might as well go ahead and make the most of it and reach as many people as we can. So.
Great.
All right, great. Thank you.
And so just to be clear on the Memorial Day, the flags at the grave, so the Boy Scouts will not be participating in that. It'll be an adults only event.
I believe so. I've spoken with Paul Cannell, and he was going to reach out to the organizations.
Okay.
And the way you guys know that I'm involved with Scouts in the town I live in, and Scouts activities normally don't take place as long as school's not in session.
Right.
So I
No
believe
school, no scouts.
exactly. So I believe that's the way it's going to be. So even if they did participate, it would be social distancing. They wouldn't show up with more than 3 or 4 kids at each cemetery.
Yeah.
But,
All right. Add it to the list of things we have to adjust to right now, I guess.
Carol, while we're on the subject of food drives, you want to fill everyone in on what the Kiwanis is doing?
Oh, sure. So Rose Culp at Happy Frog came up with this idea that we should try to do something to support the food pantries. So she designed a sign. People may see them driving around town. Right now, there are 250 signs distributed throughout town. And we placed another order for another 250 because the first 250 that we ordered sold out the first day. I think within like 6 hours, they were sold out. So the way it works is people pay $15 to get one of these signs. They're being delivered by the Boy Scout troop. Troop 29, and they display it on their lawn. It says, "We are EB Strong," and all of the proceeds, once we pay for the signs themselves, are being split between the food pantries, the one at St. John's and the one at the Union Congo Church. So we've seen great support for that, and I think at this point we have raised enough to give to the food pantries, I believe over $4,000 to be split between the two, but it's ongoing. So it's good. And it's a good thing to pull the community together too, I think. So thank you.
If I can just add to that, Carol, that the Y is also setting up a food
Yes.
drive Friday, Saturday, and next Monday and Tuesday. Not too sure of all the hours. I think they're also selling the signs at that food drive that the Kiwanis are putting out. So again, if you look around, check around and get the hours down there, and we'll just continue this going throughout the community.
Yep. We have there's a couple of Kiwanis members that are on the board at the Y. So I know there's been some cross conversation about how we can all come together to support the food pantries. So it is good.
Okay, Carol, are the food pantries, looking just for, like the gift cards, or is that what the focus is on? Do you know? I thought I heard that in a neighboring town or somewhere along the lines that they were just looking for gift cards. Do you know?
I personally haven't talked to anybody at the food pantry. I know for Kiwanis, we're just going to give them the money and let them decide how to buy it.
Okay.
A lot of times, and if you've seen on TV, I think it was Channel 5 was doing a big fundraiser all weekend for the Greater Boston Food Bank. And the food pantries can actually buy food from the Greater Boston Food Bank, and they get that at a discount. So their $20 goes further than my $20 might go if I went to a store and tried to buy things for them. So I don't know that they're not accepting food, but I think that in many instances, it's easier for them to have, cash and, gift cards that they can use and buy exactly what they need.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Chris, did you have anything else?
No, just to add, if there's anything else, I need to be doing, or, we need to do veteran service wise while we're in this time of need, let me know and we'll take care of it.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for what you're doing. It's very helpful. And I know that the veterans and the rest of the community appreciates it.
Thank you, Chris.
Thanks, Chris.
All right. So in the absence of Susan Gilpatrick on the the absence for the absentee ballots, I think, Brian, you said you have the information
I have the
on
information
that.
and we have posted it on the town's website. So we can do absentee and early voting for the town election, which of course is scheduled for the 6th of June. So the deadline for absentee or early voting is June 5th, and the last day to register to vote is May 27th. And you can get the form online, fill it out, return it, and get the absentee ballot or the early ballot, and vote right at town meeting is town hall, either by getting it mailed out to you if you're speedy, or waiting till that first week in June and coming into town hall. Hopefully we'll be open by that time to the general public. But either way, there's no excuse for not voting because we have many options available.
Excellent. Dave, did you want to add anything to that?
No, just as of last Friday, I believe, we only had between 70 and 90 people in East Bridgewater that have applied to get their absentee ballot. This is the time to do it. I think we said it a couple of weeks ago. You have to have a couple of minutes, to do things like this, and pick up the phone and call, 508-378-1606. They'll get it out to you. You can get it back. You can drop it back in front of town hall. You can wait until the 18th and start coming in and do your absentee ballot at the time. But there should be no excuse for people saying, oh, during this, we didn't have a chance. Everyone has a chance. The election's only a month away. Let's get moving, folks.
It is a month away. Yep.
Yeah.
And voting is important. So good. All right. Shall we move to our action items?
Sure. First one. Yep. We have a contract signing with the Firefighters Union.
And we have Lieutenant Bill Wolf and the fire chief online with us at the moment.
Hello, everyone. This is Phil Wolf.
Hey, Phil.
Hey, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
How you doing?
So the fire union's contract has been finally delivered to us with signatures. It is ready for ratification. It expires the end of June, however. So it's taken a while to bring this one across the finish line. And we'll be starting negotiations shortly. So,
So you, Madam Chairman, I would like you to have the town administrator set up the next step of negotiations for the next
For
contract.
the next meeting?
At least within the next month. I know historically everyone says that, government is very slow. I think the fire contract has probably set this to a new plateau when we're signing a contract 7 weeks before it expires. Again, I don't know why it takes that long. I just think it's wrong. I think it's something that we just shouldn't allow it to get this far out. And I know we've gone through 3 different share people, 3 town administrators, and I'm not too sure who else during these negotiations, but it is something that, not to take lightly. We should be starting that negotiation soon. We don't know what's going to happen with the economy coming up after we get out of this emergency, but it's something we should sit there and not allow 6, 7, 8 weeks in between meetings. We have to get this thing done and done quickly and reasonably.
When did we start the contract negotiations for this contract? Does anyone know offhand roughly?
I think it was right after I got elected, maybe. I know there was a meeting right after I got elected. Now that was probably partway through the process.
Mhm.
So 2.5 years ago.
I'm sure we started negotiations before the last one expired. So, I mean, I don't know.
Well,
I'm
I have confidence in our powers that be that it'll be better this time. That's just,
So if I may, I honestly don't recall if it was signed prior to the prior contract expiring. I don't think I think it was signed right around that time. An MOA had been hammered out because there was some, yeah, so it was signed afterwards because there was a little bit of retro pay involved. But I will speak from the memory I have from 2.5 years ago. So it was an amicable agreement between the town and the firefighters union. And I think it got tied up in legal between the firefighters and the town over some wording issues, that's all, after the fact, after the MOA was agreed upon and signed by both parties. And that's kind of where it laid, and then honestly, things happened, and like you said, we've been through a few town administrators and a time of being without a town administrator. But everything that you're signing today has already been in effect for 2.5 years anyways. But I agree with Mr. Shady that, in the future, it'd probably be easier to have something signed so that every firefighter would actually have a copy of a current contract moving forward.
I agree. Bill, did you want to make a motion?
Yeah, I make a motion to accept the contract between the town of East Bridgewater and the East Bridgewater Firefighters Union, giving permission to Town Administrator Brian Noble to sign the agreement on our behalf.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
All right, hearing
Nope.
none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. That's unanimous.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Just-
everyone. We look forward to seeing and discussing further negotiations with you shortly.
Great. Thanks for your
Just-
time, Phil.
Thank you.
Thanks, Phil.
Safe, everybody.
I also believe that Jeffrey Kelly, the captain of the firefighters, was also on this meeting, just so you know.
Okay,
Oh,
Great.
thank you.
Mm.
thank you for letting us
Jeff, you have
know.
anything to add?
Sorry?
Just thanks for pointing that out, Chief. I appreciate that. I'm just here.
You're-
That's all I-
You're
just
welcome,
here.
Cap.
All right,
Good.
everybody, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your time and getting it done.
All right, and our next action item, make a motion to approve the minutes of the April 21st, 2020, 4:30 PM Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Make a motion to approve but not release the minutes of the April 21st, 2020, 4:55 PM Board of Selectmen's executive session meeting.
Second.
Any discussion?
Nope.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And make a motion to set the date for the annual town meeting.
Mm. Brian, you're up.
So here's what we got.
That's a second.
What'd you
Right.
say, November 2nd?
I hope not.
Why are you rushing it, Brian?
Got a couple of things. We had originally aimed at June 15th, but I am concerned that by June 15th, we may not be able to have as much of a crowd in attendance as I would like. So if you look at the next two Monday nights after that, the 22nd and the 29th, 29th would put it in the week of 4th of July, which I'm not thrilled about. And on the 22nd, we would be competing against Rockland, and you'd say, well, who cares? Except we would lose town council, and I would like town council present. So our choices are the 15th, the Monday, the 15th, Tuesday, the 23rd, or Wednesday, the 24th, if we think that the 15th might be still too early. I have spoken to the moderator, and he is available on any of those dates.
And town council is available on any of those dates.
And on any of those dates, as long as we didn't compete against Rockland. And though it's possible that we might see a change in state law that would allow us to reduce the quorum for a special town meeting
Mhm.
from 150 down to 15. So, we get the selectmen and their four closest friends, and we could have a town meeting.
If,
We each have to have 4 friends?
Yes, you'd
that
have to
might be a
have.
stretch.
I don't know if that's gonna work.
I could do 150 to exercise, please correct me if I'm wrong, any spending over 100,000. So we have some articles on the special town meeting, which are so crucial to the town.
Right.
And I do sort of need a special town meeting before the end of the year. My other solution is to convene town meeting, go with whatever number of people show up and beg forgiveness from the state later. We really do sort of have to do that before the end of the fiscal year.
I mean, I think it sounds like they're gonna pass that legislation to reduce the quorum.
Well, I've sicked our legislative liaison, Selectman Dave Sheedy, on our legislative delegation to see what he can do to move that along.
Mhm.
Because we
What-
desperately need that quorum reduction.
One of the things that we need a clarification on that, folks, is when you read the bill, which is page 4398, it talks about town meeting. It does not clarify special town meeting. So I've made a couple of calls this afternoon on that, waiting to hear back. But again, it's sitting in Ways and Means, so anyone that has a connection to any of our state reps, state senators, now's the time to pick up the phone and say, get this pushed through, because it's sitting in Ways and Means. It could sit there until the emergency's over.
Right. And we're not, I mean, all the cities and towns are in this boat, anybody that's that town meeting coming up.
But a lot of
Right,
them don't have quorums.
right. If, so Rockland is the 22nd. If we do the 23rd, what happens if Rockland has 2 nights? Do we know if
I've been
historically, does that happen with them?
I've been guaranteed by the town administrator in Rockland, they will not go 2 nights.
Okay,
And if we go with the Tuesday night, then our overflow night would be Wednesday. If we go to
Wednesday.
Tuesday night, the overflow would be Thursday. But I can tell you right now, we'll have the warrant down to a science. And we'll try not to spend any more time than we have to without rushing the process, but being as efficient as we can so that we won't be keeping people in the auditorium any longer. The
Mm.
auditorium, as you know, seats 800. So I think we can do a lot of social distancing without diminishing the quality of the meeting.
yeah. Go ahead, David.
I'd like to move for the 22nd. The sooner we can possibly get there, the better.
I'm
15th,
good with the
I definitely
I'm good
think
with
it's
the
way too
22nd.
early.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree. I think the 22nd would work fine. And I think getting everything on that warrant down to a science and getting people, getting the issues out before the town and getting them out as soon as we can.
We can't do the 22nd. That's
Not the 22nd, the 23rd.
23rd.
23rd, yeah,
He meant the 23rd.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, it depends. If I get reelected or bounced out of office, I'll still try and make it either way.
Thanks, Bill. We
Yeah.
appreciate your
Make
support.
sure you bring your 3 friends with you, though.
Well, we can get Tim. Tim, you'll be there, right?
The cooperation,
She's on vacation.
hard work from the finance committee in particular. I've thoroughly enjoyed the process. It's been a challenge for them and they have withstood it quite well. And I'm very impressed with their ability to hang on as through the machinations of not knowing all of the loose ends that are going to have to play into this budget.
Right. And I don't want to jinx us, but it's been a long time since we had to go to a second night of town meetings. So let's hope that we can safely do it and get it done and move on. Mr. Clerk, do you want to make a motion for the 23rd?
Let's see. Madam Chair, I make a motion to set the date for the annual town meeting for June 23rd.
And special?
Second,
And
Special.
special town meeting for June 23rd.
the special at 7 and the annual at 7:30.
Yeah, well, actually, to be honest with you, I post them both for 7 o'clock. So if we get through the the special town meeting, we can immediately go right to
Move
the
right to it. Excellent.
Okay,
extra
fine.
time. So normally you wouldn't, but I'm suggesting that we move it as quickly as we can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, motion's made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Nope.
Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Aye. There you go. It's unanimous, June 23rd. After we said last year, we're never having town meeting this late again. Here we are.
Well, I think, to be honest with you, we're going to pass an operating budget and then come November, we're probably going to have to go back into session because we'll know what the cuts in local aid will be at that time.
Yep.
So we're preparing a realistic budget to present before town meeting. I think we've been conservative in our approach, but depends upon the level of cuts.
Well, we can only know what we know, and right now, we don't know what that's gonna be, so we wait till we know. All right, that's it for action items. Town administrator report.
Thank you. I have several things. I've been communicating by text message with Sue, who's at home watching us live.
Hi, Sue.
And so she's concerned that she wanted to make sure that I was clear about the town election early voting is by mail only, but she will make sure that that information is clearly stated on the website. So I thank her for that correction. So on the town administrator's agenda, I wanted to tell you that I'm really pleased to have presented tonight both the firefighters contract and the MOA with the superior officers. And in fact, we're starting a much faster exchange with the Patrolmen's Association. So I'm hoping to give you some good news in a very short period of time. I think also it's important to tell you that even though we're in the middle of a pandemic, the town is still moving forward with our plan to adopt the green community standards. And they have extended the deadline, only they have to at this point, in order to get all the work done and do public hearings. Tonight, the planning board is doing an online meeting. This is the first time they've ever been online, and that starts at 7 o'clock. So I'll let you know how well that goes, because we're going to have to experiment with the limits of technology and see how well we do with that. We do know that Plymouth County received $90 million in CARES Act money to be distributed to the 27 communities of Plymouth County. So we're preparing our claim as we speak now to put it in as fast as possible. I'm hoping to get it into latest on Wednesday to make sure that we're first in time, first in line. I do tell you that several other towns have actually already filed, and so that's getting there quickly. And one application doesn't mean we can't file for application of additional funds later. So let you know.
Well, Brian, just to add to that, because I did participate in the county commissioners advisory board meeting the other night, and it was very clear that this was a decision that was made by the commissioners. The advisory committee did not vote on this. We were given the opportunity to provide input, and I would say that some of the cities and towns were very much in favor of it. Some had reservations about retaliation from the state. But the overall feeling was to stress communication to the commissioners, and that they needed to communicate to the towns how the process would play out, and how that money was going to be allocated. That's all.
We're preparing our documentation so as to give an audit trail, because I fully expect that there'll be an audit, because there is a little bit of concern on the part of the state that the administering a program of this size might be a challenge for them. So we're going to make sure that when we submit our paperwork, we're submitting the audit trail to go with it. So we know that there will be an audit after the fact, and we want to make sure that we're prepared. I just want to reiterate that we indeed have already received $18,000 in CARES funds because we had filed a claim for our aeroclave. I'm pleased to tell you that the cleaning supplies have arrived. Is that correct, Tim? But the machine is not. So we're hoping that'll be arriving very shortly. And I'll tell you that I want to thank Chief Herron for his efforts to secure that. He moved very quickly in the beginning to secure that machine. So we'll be among the first towns in the state to get it because of his efforts.
Great.
Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
I also want to report to the board that the first meeting of the subcommittee of the Board of Health for the slow reopening of the town and all the appendant pieces that involves took place last week, and we'll take it and we'll meet for the second time on Wednesday morning at 10 o'clock. And I want to make sure that I reiterate that the town of East Bridgewater is not going rogue. We're not going to preempt the governor, nor are we going to defy the governor. We're working to make sure that we cover all the bases for our town in terms of the reopening of athletic fields, the reopening of orderly retail and food services, and of course, more importantly, town services. So with that, I would like to tell you that the Council on Aging and the library have both submitted preliminary plans to the subcommittee for their review. And I want to thank both directors, Nancy and Chris McGee, for a very thorough job with great suggestions. And I'm sure that the committee will probably look favorably upon her and his suggestion. So, and Nancy is with us this evening. I see her smiling face. So thank you, Nancy. I would like to tell you that in the windstorm a few weeks ago, we lost a lot of tiles off the town hall roof. And I would like to tell you that that has all been repaired and the insurance claim has been placed, and we've been assured that we will be paid fully for that loss. So that is now done, or at least until the next windstorm. Good. Excuse me. Let me make sure that we're doing anything else that I need to let you know. We are going to make some steps to make Town Hall and the Council on Aging and the library a little bit more guest friendly. We're going to be, and make sure that we protect our employees. We are going to be, we have ordered cloth masks, and we've also ordered acrylic and glass shields to be installed in the customer service windows. So we're going to practice our social distancing and protect our residents and our employees at the same time. I don't like spending money, so we'll make sure that all of these expenses submitted for CARES Act reimbursement. I am a little concerned about the town budget going forward and the potential cuts, depending upon which rumor and which day it is. We've heard anything from 5 to 25% of local aid. It's hard to.
Did you say 25%?
Correct. Yes. I had a conversation.
Holy.
Yes. I mean, the problem, of course, is defining what part of local aid they're talking about. Are they talking about the whole package of local aid right off the cherry sheet? Or are they talking 25% of unrestricted local aid and maybe only 5% of Chapter 70 and Chapter 90, or half the new Educational Reform Act, or all of the Educational Reform Act? Nobody seems to know, and I don't think we're going to know before town meeting. So while we'll pass a budget that we know to be balanced as of the time we submit it, we are making plans.
I'm losing Brian. Is anyone else?
No,
No.
I'm okay.
I'm good.
We got to get you a fixed computer, Dave. Is that, I'm going to lean into the microphone. Is that helping you at all?
No, if it's the Wi-Fi signal,
Yeah. And now I'll shout.
cue cards.
I wish
Cue cards.
I knew sign language.
You need Rupert, like Governor Baker has.
He's great. Watch his face. It's great. So I met with Superintendent Liz Legault and with the business manager, John Shea, last Friday morning. It's hard to tear apart a budget that they've already worked so hard to put together. But the cooperation, I think, is going to be good. And I'm very pleased with the level of dialogue that we're having with the schools and where they are in their current FY20 budget. So I want to thank them publicly for their understanding and cooperation in a very difficult time. Further, I've heard from bond counsel in the wording of a couple of articles on the warrant that they would like to change. So there'll be another change to the warrant. So I want to just prepare you for that. So that's the end of my report to you today.
Thank you. Any questions?
Nope.
I'm going to have to get Steve Brown here to teach me how to do this professionally.
All right. Rebecca, announcements? Dave, did you have a question for Brian before we move on? Or are you good? I feel like he's not.
No, I'm good with him.
Okay, great.
On that portion, I could hear.
Okay, good. That was all about the cuts, 25% across the board. Is that what you said?
Is that the only thing you heard?
Yeah.
That's the only thing Carol heard was 25%.
All right, announcements and staff reports. Rebecca, anything?
I only have one thing. I heard from Dee Dee Rogers today, the chairman of the Democratic Committee. They are planning on having their candidates night at Town Hall, with sticking with the guidelines of the gatherings of 10 or less people, and assuming the Town Hall will be open to the public on May 27th. They're only going to have the contested races. So that will be, I believe she said 8 candidates, and the Miles and Dee Dee for the Republican Committee and the Democratic Committee. And I'm not sure what exactly their plan is going to be, but I think they're going to ask for people to submit their questions ahead of time, and then they'll televise it with EBCAM and ask their questions to the candidates and kind of go that route. So it'll be a little different, but as of now, they are still planning on having candidates night on May 27th at 7 p.m.
Okay.
It'll just be televised by EBCAM. I'm not really 100% sure the route they're gonna go with how to get the public involvement, but I think that's the plan.
Okay. So it sounds like they're gonna have questions submitted ahead of time, but not remote participation for people watching. It's just gonna be, I suppose you couldn't do this for the hundreds and hundreds of people who are interested in candidates.
Exactly. Swarms of people that come every week.
All the other 3.
Yeah, exactly. All right.
So maybe more
Anything-
information to follow up. I'm not sure.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll get that. I'm sure they'll work to get that out to people too. All right, that's it for announcements then?
Yep.
Okay. Our next meeting is Monday, May 18th. Annual town election, June 6th. Board discussions, anything?
Yeah,
Carol, I just have a quick question for you.
Go ahead, Dave.
Just a quick question. When you were on the Plymouth County Advisory meeting the other night, did the commissioners give any indication on how and when they might be contacting the individual cities and towns?
No, nothing.
No.
It was,
Okay.
they did an alphabetical opportunity for everybody to submit, their questions or comments. And then they said that they would take that all under advisement and they would come out with more information at another time, but they did not say when that would be.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Bill, anything?
Yeah, just in regards to the windstorm a few weeks ago, I just wanted to thank the fire chief for keeping us updated. I know we had quite a few people lose power, and I know people were contacting me to see when they were going to get it restored. I was also working with State Senator Walter Timilty. He was also working with the power company trying to get updates, and just wanted to thank both of them for their efforts on that. Another thing to discuss is I know Carol had started the review for Brian, and I think we need to coordinate that. And I know we had talked with Clifford and Kenny, kind of guiding us through that process of doing the review. To make sure we cover all the bases. And maybe one of us just needs to touch base, call Jamie, and then we can kind of coordinate working on one review for Brian. He has been kind of slacking lately between the pandemic and the budget issues, but we should get that going.
Is he ever even at town hall? I mean, I just
don't
feel
know.
like,
I don't know.
I
I think like all day Saturday.
was he
I
there
think-
all day Saturday?
I
See, I
think-
just think he
I-
leaves his car.
I
Maybe he
agree.
Ubers.
I think he drops his car off there and comes back Saturday night or sometimes Sunday morning to get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
He Ubers all over the place. He's not, it's
Yeah.
just the vehicle.
one of these times I'm gonna go up and put chalk on the tires against the pavement to see if it's actually moved or not.
Well, I think we're gonna have to get to the bottom of why is he so slow during the week and all of a sudden Saturday, he thinks he's gonna accomplish what he's not doing when he's at all his different functions during the week.
That's it. That's
Sure.
it.
It's
You
true.
found-
Maybe we need to talk about why you can't get your work done in the hours that you have.
And I hope you're not putting those hours in for emergency neither, because it's not gonna work.
Well, I enjoy the
Just so
job.
everybody knows, we're only kidding.
Yeah, but no, I
Wait
think
for
it's,
yourself.
I think Brian's, I
Okay.
think Brian's basically been killing himself, and we actually owe it to him to, get his review and, again, touch base with Clifford and Kenny to make sure everything's covered and, kind of, I don't know if you guys want to each work on one separately and we meet an executive later to meld it all into one, or how you guys want to go ahead and do that. So just to kind of get your thoughts, see what you guys want to go, where you want to go with it.
I've been in communication with Carol, and she in turn has received information from Clifford and Kenny. So we're moving down the path to a resolution.
All right, great.
It's only a
So-
question of what brand of line you want from the water.
Part of my thought process with this bill was that we can, any level that we involve Clifford and Kenny in too much is obviously going to cost us money. So I was
Mhm.
thinking that would be important when we get to do Brian's annual review a little bit later this year. But for now, where this is, well, it's the 6-month review that's 2.5 months late or 3 months
Yeah.
late. We can keep it a little bit less involved in terms of, a very formal procedure.
Mhm.
And
Alright.
we can, can do this a little bit differently, but definitely, want input. And it needs to be a neutral person. Like, you can't give your input to me. That would be a violation of open meeting law.
Mhm.
So we do have to use an outside party to some extent on that.
All right.
So I'm on it.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you. All right, anything else? Any other topics?
I'm good.
Everybody good?
I'm good.
I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Motion
So
to
moved.
adjourn.
And a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Be safe
safe
out there,
out there.
everybody.
Thanks.
Stay well.
This conference is no longer being recorded.
Good night, all.
Bye-bye.